Hello, folks. How's it going? I am live and welcome. So today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I've been in the I always want to do bigger videos, bigger projects. Things that get me to. Oh, you know what? I forgot to record. There we go. So I always like to do like bigger videos, bigger projects. As much as I love live streaming, and I do like it, I do enjoy it. It does take away time from doing things, but it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to take away time from things I want to do. So I keep seeing that the Activision Blizzard thing is a huge story. It's a majorly big story, and I always want to cover those things, but I always want to cover them in as much detail as I can and as much of my perspective as possible. And the only way to do that is to read articles that journalists make. There's really no other way to it than that. And so I think it will be interesting if we all read some articles and just kind of see where things are from here. So that's what I'll do. And I plan on this being a multiple day project. Simply what I want to do, what I hope to do is take some days to read some articles, get caught up on the situation, and then just kind of make a video about that. Just kind of give my perspective, my take. And I don't expect this first video to be perfect at all, but you're just going to watch me through the process of sort of reading these articles and just kind of getting my take on it. So let's do it, all right? So this first article is just everything that has happened since the Activision Blizzard lawsuit was filed. The studio behind World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, and Overwatch being sued over sexual harassment. Now, the first thing you have to understand, if you're unaware of it yet, Activision is one of the biggest companies in the world, and they're worth billions and billions of dollars. They've made money over the decades, and they're also one of the most evil companies you will ever face, just in terms of how they treat their employees. And that has never been a secret at all. Everyone's aware of it. And each year they just simply want more and more money, specifically those in charge, the CEOs and the investors. They don't really seem to be caring. So it seems like nowadays, if you're making a game for the general audience, that you aren't really a game company anymore, because the quality of the game doesn't matter. When you make a car company, the quality of the car matters. Same, like, think of any product really. When you make a phone, the quality of the phone matters. But it seems like with certain video game companies, that doesn't really matter anymore, because all it matters is catching the audience's attention. And when you do that, quality can be thrown out the window sometimes. It's just how can you distract your customers the most? But that's kind of a side tangent. So let's actually read the article and just see what's going on. This is written by Zach Zwiesen, if I said it correctly. The ongoing lawsuit against Activision Blizzard has made public some truly terrible and horrendous behavior that occurred across multiple studios and offices. Many women were allegedly sexually harassed, assaulted, and psychologically traumatized, while the folks in power at the companies involved seemingly did little to stop or limit this behavior. The lawsuit was filed on July 20th. And also, I'm just going to say, as I'm reading the article, I'm going to try to actually get into more detail. Like, I don't want this to be the main thing. I want to read this article as well. I want to read as many articles as I can. But I'll try not to make this a long live stream. Since it was filed, the fallout has been widespread, with former and current employees stepping forward to share more stories of abuse, offer apologies to those who were hurt, or attempt to distance themselves from the whole thing. Devs and workers at other studios have also begun to speak up and share their thoughts and pain too. It's been an awful, disturbing, and eye-opening past few weeks, and to help you get caught up with what has happened since the lawsuit, we've rounded up all our coverage in one place. As this is an ongoing situation, we expect more stories about this lawsuit, and its fallout will come in the near future, so we plan on updating this post with new stories as we move forward. All right, Blizzard harasser from lawsuit is still And still all over World of Warcraft fans' dismay. So let me try my best to get that article. Afrasiabi worked for Blizzard as recently as June 2020, when he apparently left the company with seemingly minimal mention, to the confusion of the few fans who noticed his departure. And though Afrasiabi is gone, his presence still lingers in World of Warcraft. Kotaku was able to confirm the existence of at least 2 NPCs that continue to bear his name, in addition to a number of items that directly reference him. Destiny 2 maker weighs in on Activision Blizzard allegations. The studio behind Halo and now Destiny issued a statement on Twitter yesterday addressing the allegations of widespread sexual harassment and discrimination alleged in a new lawsuit brought by California regulators against Activision Blizzard. We have a responsibility to acknowledge, reflect, and do what we can to push back on a persistent culture of harassment, abuse, and inequality that exists in our industry, the company wrote. The Activision Blizzard lawsuit fallout is what women have been saying all along. The case against Activision Blizzard, okay, so these are just all headlines, I guess. The case against Activision Blizzard is proving what many women allegedly knew. Misogyny in the industry doesn't come down to just a few bad apples at a few companies. It's deeply ingrained in the culture at the heart of how the game businesses have operated for decades. Blizzard boss accused of failing to address sexual harassment calls new allegations troubling. The head of Blizzard Entertainment, the company behind Overwatch and Warcraft, sent an email to staff last night calling the recent allegations of widespread sexual harassment and discrimination extremely troubling, and promised to meet with them to answer questions and discuss how we move forward. So these are all just headlines, which I didn't know going into it. Now, the thing I'm curious about is if this is in order. Like, what order is this? Because it doesn't have any dates. Let me see the first article. So that's July. So that seems to be the first. Is it? Let me click on the last article and see. So this says 12/21. This is 12/10. So I think it is in order. And then so I guess this is, yeah, so it seems like in July, this is kind of when things started. Yes, so, okay, so July is kind of the beginning of when everything happened. Okay, so this is not necessarily an article, this is just sort of a compilation. So let me see what else I can find. And again, I'm just kind of doing basic research for now. As I continue, I will try my best to find more cohesion in each of these. Let me just see, Activision Blizzard, July, I guess? Like, will I get news in July if I type that in, like the date? Let's see. That's 22. All right, let's start with this one. Activision Blizzard employees walk out of work to protest rampant sexism and discrimination. Until these demands are met, we won't stop fighting. Wednesday morning, hundreds of Blizzard employees rallied outside the company's main campus in Irvine, California, to protest the company's handling of sexual harassment and discrimination charges. They're asking the gaming studio to agree to 4 demands, including ending mandatory arbitration in all employee contracts. Now, what is that word? I know I'm stupid. Arbitration. I should have just. Where is it? Yeah, I'm not using Google, so that's. The process by which the parties to a dispute submit their differences to a judgment, the hearing, and determining a form of alternative dispute. What is arbitration? In a contract. Oh, it positions parties to resolve legal disputes and conflicts in a private setting. So that sounds like what it is. So it sounds like if there's any issues in the company, that they're required to do it in a private setting. Okay, that's what I think it is, and that sounds like it makes sense, because why would you want that to be public? You know, why? So, okay. Until these demands are met, we won't stop fighting, a walkout representative tells The Verge. The move comes after the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing sued Activision Blizzard on July 20th. So that seems to be the start, alleging the company had a pervasive, and I'm going to get this article, pervasive frat boy culture where female employees were constantly harassed, discriminated against, and underpaid. The lawsuit alleged a male employee nicknamed his BlizzCon 2013 hotel room the Cosby Suite. Oh my God, that is, all right. A Kotaku investigation later found, okay, so I'm gonna get that as well, later found that multiple other employees were aware of the name. We're really glad to see these stories are being told and appreciate the journalists who are telling these stories. A walkout representative tells The Verge, we stand by the victims and are appalled by what we read. This only makes us more committed to our task. At the protest, employees stood shoulder to shoulder across 2 city blocks, holding signs that read, send the frat boys back to school, and women in the video game industry deserve a safe place to work. The energy was hopeful, almost light, despite the 80-degree heat. There were no protest chants, just chatter among colleagues. Around the corner, organizers had erected a tent for protesters, complete with water and snacks. Employees say the lawsuit was a watershed moment for the company, which previously isolated victims of sexual harassment. There was validation and there was education, a walkout representative says. It was a way for people to realize that if they experienced something like this, they were not an isolated case. And there was an opportunity for folks who maybe did partake in this, but did not realize that it's toxic behavior to learn that it's toxic behavior. Journalists were instructed not to speak directly with protesters for fear footage of the conversations would out sources. These anxieties aren't entirely unfounded. During its 2-year investigation, DFEH found numerous instances of retaliation. Activision Blizzard initially denied the allegations, with the chief compliance officers Francis Townsend saying, we cannot let egregious actions of others and a truly meritless lawsuit damage our culture of respect and equal opportunity for all employees, according to Axios. Townsend previously served as Homeland Security Advisor to George W. Bush. She joined Activision Blizzard in January. On Tuesday, CEO Bobby Kotick wrote a public letter calling the initial response tone deaf. He noted the company was engaging in WilmerHale, an outside law firm, to audit its policies and procedures. Last year, Pinterest hired WilmerHale to investigate its company culture after two prominent black women who worked at the company went public with allegations of racism and discrimination. Activision Blizzard employees says the latest notes from executives, while encouraging, it does not go far enough. Right now, they aren't listening to us, a walkout representative said. They've made that very clear. In addition to taking forced arbitration out of employee contracts, employees want the company to overhaul its hiring promotion process, publish salary and promotion data, and hire an outside firm to audit the executive team. They say that ending mandatory arbitration is particularly important so employees who have experienced harassment can come together to push for change. Doing so would remove the feeling of isolation and allow for more solidarity with one another. A walkout representative says, in addition to that, it helps mitigate the risk of retaliation. That is huge. Employees won't say what actions they have planned next. When asked if staff plans to unionize, organizers simply said no comment. Still, they made it clear the walkout is not the end. We're taking something that has existed and permeated through the gaming industry for decades and beginning to build a movement, a spokesperson says. So it's important to remember where we came from with our demands, what the end goal is, and not to lose sight. So that's the story there. So I'm going to start with this one. This seems to be where it all starts. California sues Activision Blizzard over a culture of constant sexual harassment. I could listen to the article, but I'll just read it to you guys. California's Department of Fair Employment and Housing says that renowned game publishing studio Blizzard Entertainment and its owner Activision Blizzard have created a culture of constant sexual harassment and gender-based discrimination. In a new lawsuit filed Tuesday that claims top executives were aware and or involved, and in hours since the suit was revealed, numerous women have already stepped forward to corroborate the allegations. The details are so disturbing that we're going to start with a trigger warning right now. The idea that male employees held cube crawls is one of the tamer allegation lawsuits. Female employees almost universally confirmed that working for defendants was akin to working in a frat house, which invariably involved male employees drinking and subjecting females employees to sexual harassment with no repercussion. Cube crawls in defendants' offices were common, and male employees proudly came into work hungover. Similarly, male employees would play video games during work, engage in banter about their sexual encounters, talk openly about female bodies, and make numerous jokes about rape. As a product of this frat boy culture, women were subjected to numerous sexual comments and advances, groping and unwanted physical touching, and other forms of harassment. A female employee noted that random male employees would approach her on defendant's worksite and comment on her breast. Female employees working for the World of Warcraft team noted that male employees and supervisors would hit on them, make derogatory comments about rape, and otherwise engage in demanding behavior. This behavior was known to supervisors and indeed encouraged by them, including a male supervisor openly encouraging a male subordinate to buy a prostitute to cure his bad mood. Blizzard President J. Allen Brack is specifically named as being aware of and enabling this sort of behavior, and an unnamed former Blizzard CTO was observed by employees groping inebriated female employees at company events. World of Warcraft Senior Creative Director Alex Afrasiabi also specifically named. Alex Afrasiabi, the former Senior Creative Director of World of Warcraft at Blizzard Entertainment, was permitted to encourage in blatant sexual harassment with little to no repercussions. During a company event, an annual convention called BlizzCon, Afrasiabi would hit on female employees, telling him he wanted to marry them, attempting to kiss them, and putting his arms around them. This was in plain view of other male employees, including supervisors who had to intervene and pull him off of female employees. Afrasiabi was known to engage in harassment of females. That his suite was nicknamed the Crosby Suite. Oh, Crosby? I thought that was Bill Cosby, but I guess it's Crosby? I'm so confused. All right. Oh, okay. We're assuming the DFEH meant Bill Cosby, but it's not clear. A few even uglier things are described in the full complaint below, like how one employee committed suicide after extreme forms of sexual harassment. All of the alleged sexual harassment is on top of allegations of discrimination, such as refusals to promote women. The manager commented that they could not risk promoting her as she might get pregnant and like being a mom. One allegation reads, as well as pay discrimination and outright retaliation, women were allegedly discouraged from complaining as human resource personnel were known to be close to alleged harassers. Here is a full statement Activision Blizzard provided to The Verge and other publications, which calls the lawsuit irresponsible behavior from unaccountable state bureaucrats that are driving many of the state businesses out of California. So this is kind of saying that they're taking us out of context to essentially drive us out of California. So defaming them, which is clearly not true at this point. We value diversity and strive to foster a workplace that offers inclusivity for everyone. There is no place in our company or any industry for sexual misconduct or harassment of any kind. We take every allegation seriously and investigate all claims. In cases related to misconduct, actions was taken to address the issue. The DFEH includes distorted and in many cases false descriptions of Blizzard's past. We have been extremely cooperative with the DFEH throughout their investigation, including providing them with an extensive data and ample documentation, but they refused to inform us what issues they perceived. They were required by law to adequately investigate and to have good faith discussions with us to better understand and to resolve any claims or concerns before going to litigation. But they failed to do so. Instead, they rushed to file an inaccurate complaint, as we will demonstrate in court. We are sickened by the reprehensible conduct to the DFEH to drag into the complaint the tragic suicide of an employee whose passing has no bearing whatsoever on the case and with no regard for her grieving family. While we find this behavior to be disgraceful and unprofessional, it is unfortunately an example of how they have conducted themselves throughout the course of their investigation. It is this type of irresponsible behavior from unaccountable state bureaucrats that are driving many of the state's best businesses out of California. The picture the DEH paints is not the Blizzard workplace of today. Over the past several years and continuing since the initial investigation started, we've made significant changes to address company culture and reflect more diversity within our leadership teams. We amplified internal programs and channels for employees to report violations, including the ASK list with a confidential integrity hotline, and introduced an employee relations team dedicated to investigating employees' concerns. We have strengthened our community to diversity, equity, and inclusion and combined our employee networks at a global level. To provide additional support, employees must also undergo regular anti-harassment training and have done so for many years. We put tremendous effort in creating fair and rewarding compensation packages and policies that reflect our culture and business. We strive to pay all employees fairly for equal, substantially similar work. We take a variety of proactive steps to ensure that pay is driven by non-discriminatory factors. For example, we reward and compensate employees based on their performance, and we conduct extensive anti-discrimination trainings, including for those who are part of the compensation process. We are confident in our ability to demonstrate our practices as an equal opportunity employer that fosters a supportive, diverse, and inclusive workplace for our people, and we are committed to continuing this effort in the years to come. It is a shame that the DFEH did not want to engage with us on what they thought were seeming their investigation. Since the lawsuit was revealed, at least 5 former Blizzard employees have come forward on social media to collaborate details like the cube crawl, or that they had to deal with sexual harassment, or that they saw it happen, or that they actually appeared anonymously in the suit. We're not embedding or linking their posts without permission, since we're worried they might be targeted online too. The California DEH was also involved with major sexual harassment and discrimination suit against Riot Games, which initially landed at a settlement of just $10 million, before the DFEH suggested it should be $400 million or more. Ubisoft was embroiled in a huge sexual harassment scandal last year, one of whose roots may go back a decade. An October survey revealed that a full quarter of all Ubisoft employees said they'd seen or experienced sexual harassment. So I'm just gonna do 2 things. So Activision Blizzard. I want to find the victim stories. So victim stories. What are the dates on here? I can't find the dates. I don't plan on reading these today because it seems like its own. Interesting. Okay, well, that's not what I wanted. I know this article doesn't have names, but I'm sure those names are out now, as this has been going on for a while. So that's probably what I'm going to try to find tomorrow. But for now, I want to read the most current story. So let's read it. Okay. So California appeals decision regarding Activision Blizzard's settlement. Activision Blizzard's legal troubles just took another potential turn. The California Department of Fair Employment and Housing is appealing a judge's decision that denies it from intervening in the $18 million settlement between the game developer and the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. According to the document filed Friday, Activision Blizzard and the EEOC settled a lawsuit regarding the developer allegedly toxic culture in September, establishing a consent decree that included Activision Blizzard creating an $18 million settlement fund to compensate employees. This case is separate from the DFEH's lawsuit against Activision Blizzard filed in July, which is ongoing. In October, however, the DFEH filed a motion to intervene, arguing that the consent decree could release Activision Blizzard from the state's claims and potentially allow the company to destroy evidence relevant to the DFEH's case. A judge denied the motion in December, and now the DFEH is appealing that decision. The game developer has been embroiled in the controversy since the DFEH filed its lawsuit last summer. Employees have petitioned to remove CEO Bobby Kotick, but he remains in his post, despite a bombshell report alleging he was aware of sexual misconduct allegations at the company for years. And some employees have been striking for weeks in response to surprise layoffs of the QA employees at Raven Software, which is known for its work in the Call of Duty series. Okay, so let me see if I can find one more article that talks about that. How long is this article? Activision Blizzard. Okay, so I wanted to keep this one short for now, just because I wanted to see where things were going. In terms of my research, I wanted to see where things. So, what I would like to do tomorrow is I want to find any of those victim stories since it's been out there for a while and kind of just get those perspectives and just see. I've already heard some of the egregious things they have done. And if when I'm laughing in these videos, it's not because I find it funny. It's just that's how that's how I respond to things. I usually respond to things with a smile, a laugh, a nod, things like that. So I don't mean any disrespect towards anything that's going on. So I think currently, and I could be wrong, I want to hear whatever your guys' takes are, but I think from what I've read so far that Activision should pay a hefty fine, one that either cripples them heavily or destroys the company. And I'm going to tell you why. So I'll just give you my perspective first. So when I went to college, I was getting the perspective that equality was on its way, that it didn't matter what skin color you were, or what race you were, or what gender you were, that you would have equal opportunity. And as a Dominican who went to college, I felt fine. I felt like there was no problems at all. But if a company is not only having those behaviors from employees to higher ups and actively promoting it, then they don't have the right to be considered a company. I remember this one story of, and I didn't see it firsthand, but someone told me that they were with someone, they were with a roommate who was calling a bank and like verbally, said the N word, like hard R, stuff like that. And when that happened, the bank account was dropped. Like they dropped the bank account and they stopped working with him. He was not allowed to work with. He got blacklisted from the bank, from saying one hard R, N word. And according to America, businesses are supposed to be treated like actual employees, or not employees, actual citizens. Like they have the same rights as a citizen. So if we are moving, if that's how it is, if we see moments of discrimination or racism or sexual misconduct from people and they get punished by it, then these companies, especially with how many people are in there, it should be taken the same, honestly. Like if there's a way to give this company prison time, they should have prison time, like without a doubt. Activision doesn't deserve to be a company if the people inside their employment is treated indecently, and for multiple years too. They shouldn't have the right. It is what it is. Again, I think they should take the highest, and especially because if they do, then it's going to send a message. It's going to send a ripple, that companies aren't allowed to do this. They need to treat other employees with decency and respect. And there's no excuses whatsoever. With a company, let's look it up. Let's look up how much Activision is worth now. It's not going to be accurate because stocks are just not accurate. Let's look at revenue. Let's look at how much did Activision Blizzard make in 2021. Let's look at that. Let's look at hard revenue. So, and I want to find like a respectable source. And like all of these sources are things that I never heard of. I've never heard of this website before. .esports. That's 2020. I want 2021. Okay, you know what? We'll do 2020. We'll do 2020 because, hey, they'll give me a more accurate number anyways, so maybe they're not ready to disclose how much they made in 2021 since this lawsuit. I don't know. Oh, yeah, so this came from their website. Okay, so so this is coming from Activision's actual website according to this article. Okay, so that's good. So let me show it to you guys. Wrong link, but okay. Oh, I did the wrong thing. I have multiple browsers open, but I'm not showing all my browsers, so that's my B. Where is it? Give me 1 second. So whatever. Okay, so in its Q4 quarter earnings and investors report, Activision Blizzard reported record net revenue. How much goes in their pocket? $8.09 billion, and it was up from $6.49 billion in 2019, a 25% bump. This is major revenue. It's crazy revenue. This is life-changing money for any company. If any company out there made $8 billion, that's life-changing. So for a company with this much power, and they're not using their responsibility wisely, then I don't see a reason for them to be a company. It just doesn't make sense. You know, we all love Spider-Man, all of us. If I asked anyone on Activision Blizzard, do you like Spider-Man? They're all gonna say yes, I love Spider-Man. You know, I haven't found a single person that hates Spider-Man. Like honestly, like my mom loves Spider-Man, and she, like everyone loves Spider-Man. And we all know the line, we all know the phrase, with great power comes great responsibility. I've never seen someone say, no, that's not true. That's not incorrect. Great power comes great responsibility. So, if we all believe in that, if we all believe that's a philosophy we should all agree on, all right? And then we see someone that has great power but no great responsibility, shouldn't we all agree that there's change? Like, shouldn't we all agree on that fundamental issue? That's what I like talking about. I like talking about what's fundamental. And what's fundamental is, for me at least, and I hope it is for you guys, that if you don't have great responsibility, you don't deserve your great power. It's as simple as that. And they're a company that's so big that it needs to go beyond social media. We need to see actual repercussions for their actions. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So that's part one. This is part one. I'm going to keep on this investigation. I'm going to read some of the stories. So tomorrow, what I hope to do is read some of the stories and the protests. So find some articles about that. And then I guess with part 3, but it might change after reading part 2, I want to see, I want to look at the people they're accusing. I want to hear all the stories, all of their accusations of these higher-ups. What stories happen, like directly, you know? I want to hear all those stories. I don't know how many parts I'm going to do of this, honestly. But we'll see. I definitely think a part 2 is in order and a part 3 is in order. So we will see where this all leads to. But the reason why I want to read, because you could be asking me, like, why do you want to read these articles and talk about it? Like, isn't this already been done? Yes. Like we've already heard everyone talk about it. Every YouTuber that's wanted to talk about it has talked about it already. But the reason why I want to talk about it is simply because it's important. it's an important story to talk about. Even though I think there's a lot of YouTubers out there who've already told the story and have probably said it better than me, I don't, I want to talk about this story. That's just what I want to do. I want to talk about it. I want to be informed. And these live streams help encourage me to be informed, because honestly, if I wasn't doing these live streams, I wouldn't read these articles. So I want to be informed on the situation. I want to be up to date personally. I want to read the articles and understand in detail what is going on. All right. So thank you so much for listening and watching. All right. I hope whatever I make turns out to be a great video. Did you guys see that? This little dust flying. Oh, that was pretty cool. Say goodbye to Ringo for me. Freddy Freaker up there. Cat, Tofu, Wario, Naruto. You can tell by the little thing. Yeah, say goodbye to all of them. All right.